Hey everyone, welcome back to Talk to Miguel. Today we're sitting down with someone who is not just a name in journalism or tourism, she's a force. Janet Silvera has spent over 35 years breaking barriers, asking the tough questions, and pouring back into her community. But what I really wanted to get into today is the journey. How a girl from Melbourne Avenue in Montego Bay, who once battled roaches and poverty, became a bold voice for truth, for service, and for change. This conversation is about more than just success. It's about identity, resilience, and knowing your worth, even when the world tries to tell you otherwise. So grab a drink, get comfortable, and let's talk to Janet. Take us back to the beginning. Where did it all start in Melbourne Avenue? What was that like?
Okay, so my mom had 7 children, and we lived in a 2 bedroom house that had an out bathroom, those toilets that you would have to pick latrine, you would go down, and it's outside. So at nights, I would go down to take a bath. So I'd bathe outside. But one of the things that scared me most was seeing a 40 leg. Up to today, I still, if I see a 40 leg, I can't even kill it. That is one of the things that I'm most scared of. So I would see those running around because, out toilet, those are the things that comes with that. Roaches, all sorts of vermings, comes with that.
For
Yeah.
people living abroad, they think outside but bathing sounds idyllic. It sounds like a prissy. We had an outside shower in Mexico.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Well, modern day.
This is a whole new concept. So it was a bath or a shower you had.
We didn't have a bath. No bath. Please, we had a stand, a pipe stand at times. You catch the water in a bucket or a pan, those panel looking pans, and you would bathe in them. That would probably be a bath if you go sit down in it. You know what I mean? But eventually we got a shower, but an outside shower with a zinc around it. But as poor as we were, I lived in the most loving home that you can ever think of. My father would walk to work so that we could go to school. He would give us his fare. My father would not allow us to go to bed without Jolly Roger's chicken. So even though we may have gone to bed hungry, once he came home, he had food in his hand and he would put the chicken to our noses and the aroma would wake us up.
So Jolly Rogers, that was
Jolly Rogers was a chicken place, yes. And my father was a plumber. So he would do jobs and he would get paid for those jobs. And once he got paid, especially on a Friday evening, we could not go to bed hungry. But we were a loving family, very, very loving. And so that, for me, being poor was never even came up in my mind. It never mattered whether or not we were poor because we had love, and that love was what carried us through. Mother was one of the most beautiful human beings. She was a mother of the community. At any given time, and when we moved from there, we moved just across the road where my father built almost of a mansion. Yeah, across the road from where we were living. He built on the hill, captured land, of course. However, he made sure to build us a mansion, a place that we would call home, that we would be satisfied with. And even when we were living in that house on the other side, that board house where my mom would kneel to shine the floor and all of that. I mean, I loved that house. I must be honest with you. As difficult as it was for us, there was love, as I said before. But my mother would take in other people's children as well. At any given time in our lives, I know my mother took in about 8 other people's children. One girl came to live with us came to stay with us for one night and ended up spending 9 years. Yes.
Would you say you got your community and that sort of strength from your mom or your dad, or is it a combination?
Both of them. My father was really like Father Christmas, to be honest with you. Yes, because he gave away everything. Up to today, though, we are benefiting from what he gave to others because people will look at us now. And if somebody is going to say something bad or do something bad to any of us, them say, Mr. Doggy, pick me, you know, you can't trouble her one day. Because of
How
the
many of you were
fact,
there?
7 children, 7 of us, 1 boy, 6 girls. Eventually, the older girls moved out. Some of them moved to United States. Others moved to areas where they were not Salt Spring Road. But I had one sister in particular who was like our mother. She remains like our mother. She would, when she got her first job, she bought our uniforms. She took over the role literally of our parents, even though our parents lived in the house. But that is how she is. She's a mother figure.
So in terms of um, it's a loved home.
Mm-hmm.
You love the house itself.
Mm-hmm.
The
The
area,
environment.
the environment.
Lived
Yeah.
in a crime ridden at the time. I watched tribal war, yes, as a kid. One of the men running from the other men ran underneath our bed and was hidden there for a while until the other men passed through. But watched tribal war, saw it as a kid and was very, very afraid of it. Incidentally, 4 young men from right across where I lived died by the gun. So I could have been somebody else, but I chose not to. I wanted to be who I am today. And it was what you'd call intentional. I knew that Melbourne Avenue or Salt Spring Road was where I was from, but not where I was destined to spend the rest of my life. Definitely not. And so I worked towards that.
What was? Did your parents sort of set expectations, or did they have expectations for you, as opposed to what your expectations were? You know, like how some parents want their kids to be doctors and lawyers.
Not really. My parents were very simple people, you know. My mother never went past fifth grade, but if she did, my God, she would have been a powerhouse because that woman would read a lot. So I saw that in her and I read a lot. Instead of me going to visit people's homes, I would walk the street reading a book. And I believe that is how I became a writer. I would also pass every building in the mornings on my way to school and be writing on my legs. But our parents wanted the best for us. They never necessarily said, okay, I want you to be a doctor, a lawyer. Or no. However, what we got from them was caring for people. We had a sense of community. Community was very, very important to us. Taking care of our neighbors, being our neighbors' keeper was more important than anything else to my parents. And that's why I'm who I am today. I started doing treats in my community, Christmas treats. And all that I would give would be books and bags because I felt that they could get toys anywhere else. But for me, educational material was what was more important. And let me tell you something which affected me, and I shouldn't have allowed it. One of those treats that I did one of those years, one parent said I was doing it because I felt I was better than the rest of the community. And that affected me to the extent that I didn't do a retreat. Hmm. And I shouldn't have allowed that to happen because the children who were benefiting is what I should have been more concerned about and not what a parent would say.
What you learn from that?
Uh huh. I learned from that.
Now, where did the idea of becoming a teacher come from?
Oh, Lord. Well, I when I finished Mount Alvernia High School, I loved Kingston. By the way, before I even finished Mount Alvernia, I used to go to Kingston every weekend. I would go to on the weekend, and so Kingston became a part of my psyche, almost in my DNA, I believe. Because after I left Mount Alvernia, I said I'm going to Kingston to go to school. So I went to Exed Community College, and they gave me a scholarship. The scholarship meant I had to do teachers college at Exed because obviously we needed more teachers in this country. And so they wanted me to be a teacher. Within 3 months in the course, I realized that I couldn't be a teacher.
Why was that?
I was too flamboyant for the classroom. You can't have somebody like me in the classroom, somebody who dresses sexy, who is going to feel that, I'm too hot for the classroom. So I was worried that it would distract young men who I would have to teach. So at age what? Maybe I was 17 at the time or 8. I don't think I'd reach 18 because I left Mount Alvernia at age 17. Yeah. But I was thinking ahead. I was thinking about the people in the classroom and how my way would probably affect young men. And I didn't want that. I didn't want that at all. So I decided to return to Montego Bay and I entered the tourism sector, which is what became my love.
What was the first job?
My first job was at the Wexford Hotel, the Wexford Court Hotel. Godfrey Dyer gave me that job. Yeah, yeah.
How did that go?
It went exceptionally well because that is when I embraced an industry that is the lifeblood and the engine of growth for this country. This is the industry that caused me to live where I live now. It was the industry that allowed me to return to go to university to get a degree. Because for years I was so caught up within myself that I felt that I never even needed a university degree. Because I always felt that I had this brilliant mind. You know, when you tell yourself all sorts of things, but it not goes so. But you know something? I needed that other aspect of life. I needed a university degree. If I am going to be the writer that I want to be, if I'm going to be able to speak on stages to people, then I need to do research. I need to be in an environment where there are other people that are going to be speaking on different subject matters. And that did not going into a classroom. It didn't allow me that.
But before that, you went to France, didn't you?
Yes, yes, yes. I studied French, but if I wanted to go and lecture, and that I never knew because I was speaking on stages, but I did not have a university degree. And so a woman from Montego Bay Community College asked me to speak to her class, to do a course with her class. But when she found out that that I didn't have a degree, she said the school wouldn't allow it. Yeah. So I really did need a university. But no, for me, travel is probably one of the best educational facility that one can give themselves. You understand where I'm coming from? But if you are going to go into the classroom to teach, then I believe that you should be qualified to speak to other people's children. And so for me, I needed that university degree. But my travels are what have allowed me to be able to sit here with you today. Telling you straight up, it's not my university degree. It is the fact that I've been to 70 different countries all over the world.
Is that personal thing, or is that because of the tourist industry, or
Tourism caused me to be. I worked with the Jamaica Tourist Board for 10 years. And 5 of those 10 years, I was a marketing officer. which required that I dealt with tour operators, travel agents, media. And at one time, I was dealing with a lot of French media, French tour operators, and I couldn't speak the language. So I said, I'm going to go to France and learn the language. Hmm. Yes. So I went to France, enrolled in school, and started learning French.
So
I'm sorry.
English school that taught French?
No, a French school.
French, so they're speaking to you.
Mon français m'avait maintenu parce que je ne pratiquais pas, mais je l'aime beaucoup la langue.
Total immersion. So, you said earlier that when you're walking, you write on your leg. I'm not sure what you're writing
Okay.
on your leg.
All right. So everything that I passed in the mornings to school, I would write whatever I saw on those buildings, whatever. And I thought for years that this was a nervous condition that I had. Thought it was a nervous condition. However, it was really preparing me to become I was born to write. I wrote a poem in perfect patois when I was in second form at Montego Bay High School. And years later, I saw it in one of our Citadel magazines. And let me tell you something, I had to look again to see whether or not it was really Janet Silvera. And it was when I saw what grade the Janet Silvera was in that I realized that it was me who had written it.
So therefore, you're destined to end up in media. But because you're in tourism, what pulled you into media? Because you already had you had started. You're saying that while at Montego Bay in second form, you had written but the writing on your legs was almost like a preparation.
Yeah, for that.
So
Yeah.
what was what eventually pulled you in?
Well, after I resigned from the Jamaica Tourist Board, I was asked by the manager of the Gleaner Western Bureau if I would start working on what they had at the time was a tourist guide. The Gleaner used to do a publication called the Tourist Guide. Okay. So I was asked to start selling advertising for that. And I did. But then I started working out of their Western Bureau office and became a part of the advertising department. But while you're in that office and you see all those journalists around you, you feel like you want to write something. And that's how it all started, as simple as that. But you have to have managers that are forward thinkers. And there was one there that was a forward thinker, Jenny Campbell. I approached Jenny and I said, Jenny, I have a story idea. I would like to write an article on, life, lifestyle, etc. She said, what's the title? I said, it's okay to have two men. We knew that would have been a very controversial piece, but I decided to write it for the Flair magazine, I think it was. And I wrote the article, and it was a hit with men particularly. I would be walking on the street and people would be stopping me and asking me about this article about it's okay to, and if I had two men. In fact, the man I was dating at the time was concerned about the article. He thought
the second one or the first one.
But I mean, I was able to appease him because I felt it was okay for women to have two men. I'm being honest with you. That is how I felt. Because for me, Jamaican men were having up to 5 women and society accepted it. So for me, why can't a woman have at least 2? I felt very strongly about that. And that is why I wrote that story.
You said the men, it was successful with men. What about the women?
Pardon me?
You said it was successful with the men. The men.
Well, I didn't say successful. I said that it piqued. I should probably say it piqued their interest. They all wanted to fight. I think probably they were against the idea because a Jamaican man, for a Jamaican man, it's okay for him to have 5 women. But for his woman to have another man is a problem. It's so much hypocrisy in this country as it relates to those type. But I think the younger women now are different than when I was at that age.
Even that raped us or something like that.
Yes, yes, yes. I met some sisters, some women from Trelawney whose, but that's later on in life that I did that story. I received an award for that story. But those were the types of stories that I wrote. Human interest pieces, I really like up to today. But I met some women in Trelawney and they had been raped by their father. He had abused them for years and their mother did absolutely nothing about it. She didn't believe them. So they decided that they would report it years later. They reported it. I did the story. The story was an award winning piece, and the Press Association of Jamaica awarded me for it.
Mention that bringing on to awards.
Yes.
You know, your accolades are long. Um, what does it feel like winning these awards? Is it an acknowledgement or is it how does it
It's
make you
it's
feel?
it's an acknowledgement. When you are acknowledged by your peers, for one, it is a totally different feeling. So getting a PAJ award for me was an endorsement of the kind of hard work that goes into writing because they have some of the best judges that they put together to judge these pieces. It also pushes you to wanting to do better, to write better. Because some of us are writing and we're not necessarily writers, you know. You understand me? We have editors that edit our work. But when you are going to get an award, that story needs to be written properly, or it's not going to pass litmus test. It's not going to. And I started receiving awards long before PAJ awards, long before Dad raped us. One of the first awards I got was from the Caribbean Tourism and Hotel Association. They recognized me, or was it CTO recognized me in 2006, I think it was, for my work in tourism, the stories that I was writing. Then the Jamaica Tourist Board recognized me as a tourism writer in 2012. I was the first Jamaican to receive the Marcia Vickery Wallace Award.
Who is Marcel?
She was a travel writer who specialized in tourism, and they named an award in her honor. And that is one of the most prestigious awards to be given out by the Jamaica Tourist Board.
Now, you already touched into the fact that you felt you had to go to university, even though
Yes,
you were reluctant to it
I was.
initially.
I thought I never needed a university degree at all.
What did you study? Because from the sunlight, I thought you'd have gone and done journalism,
I did
but you,
media and communications.
but you also did the humanities or
Yes, but that falls under humanities. But you see, let me tell you something about humanities. Everybody should do humanities because what it does, you do sociology, and with sociology, you understand how to deal with people. You know, when doctors are in hospitals and they say you have bedside manners, every doctor should do sociology. Every doctor should do humanities as part of their course because it gives you that heart that you need to deal with people. So everybody must do humanities.
so. No, there's a lot of people I know
Hmm.
who done degrees
Yes.
and use nothing of it after they've left university.
Uh-huh. Not me.
So how did this help? How did this improve you?
Considerably, because let me tell you, the first thing is I was very fortunate. I had some of the best lecturers, including a Dr. Patrick Prendergast, of who is now head of Karamak, which is the oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm itching like crazy. But let's continue the interview. Um, when we get into the nitty gritty of those classes, and you go through books or poems like that single story, and you realize how it is that people can use media for their own agenda. When you look at the gatekeepers and you look at agenda setting, sometimes you're in media, you don't even know about those things. You don't know that, for instance, a person who owns the media can use it for their own agenda. So you're innocent as a journalist or as a young journalist, and you don't know these things. You don't know that the gatekeepers are the ones who decide what happens in the media. I am very fortunate to work for a media house that does not tell me who I can write about and who I can't write about. The Gleaner, one of the most credible media houses, I believe, in the world. We have integrity, and there's no editor that has ever told me that I cannot write about his or her friend.
That is powerful because there's a lot of people who don't necessarily believe the greener is that.
They can say what they want to say. We know what we know. We know what, if I do something tomorrow morning, the Gleaner is carrying the story. Whether I worked for them for 30 years or I worked for them for a year.
All right, I want to get into your leadership now because you seem to have taken on a lot of leadership. President of Western Jamaica Media Association, President of MoBay Chamber of Commerce. Where did this come? I mean, it's a natural progression.
Natural progression. Natural, because I mean, I do believe that leaders are born. I was always leading from high school.
That's obvious.
Yeah, I was leading from primary school. Whether it was good leadership or bad, I was leading.
You're there.
I was there.
You learned to be a good leader.
I was there. I learned to be a good leader, but I was also a troublemaker. I gave a lot of trouble leading people in the wrong direction at times, particularly when I was in high school. Yeah. And you see, I was rebelling though, because I do have a rebellious nature. I went to a high school where my best friend was a Jamaican white girl, and she would get away with blue murder no matter what she did. But because of my color, I was wrong. No matter what I did right, I was wrong. And I was felt or portrayed as the devil, literally by some teachers.
You know, that still goes on.
I know it still goes on. And that's why I don't hide this. I speak about it openly. Because had I listened to some of those teachers, I wouldn't be where I am today. Had I listened to people who felt that I wasn't good enough, or because I'm from Melbourne Avenue, Salt Spring Road, where you have a lot of gunmen at the time. And I shouldn't say that necessarily, because on my street, it wasn't bad. But I'm from a community that had real issues. And I could have gone in another direction, like I told you. But I was very, very keen on the direction that I would go. And I knew that I was made for greatness. And absolutely nobody in this world could tell me any different.
What made? What was it that made that choice for you? Because you say you could have gone this side or that side.
Mm-hmm.
Was it what gave you that moral?
My parents.
That's
My parents, I'm telling you, my parents made an indelible mark in my life. My father was a peacemaker. Yeah. My mother cared for other people's children. She cared about their welfare. She cared about the fact that she didn't want them to go in the wrong direction either. I saw that. And not that my family was perfect, and not that we didn't have any black sheep. Don't get me wrong. We had our issues in our family as well. But love superseded a lot of things that happened in my family. Love. And let me tell you something. Me just believe in a love. I believe that love can do so much in one's life. Can take away and push evil away from you. Once you put in and say that I'm going to have love right here in the middle, and anything else that comes, love will be the barrier.
I think there's a lot more of that out there than we're led to believe. Sometimes people want to portray the fact that it's all negative and it's all this and it's
But
all.
it's
But I think
not.
it's not. I think there's
No.
a lot more love and a lot more. The more tribes we know, there's a
Hmm.
lot more people out there that are caring than we are led to believe when you
Listen,
follow the.
but I have been very fortunate to have a lot of those people in my life. A lot of those people in my life. From age maybe 11 or 13, I can't remember well. But from those days, I told myself that I was born for greatness and that absolutely no one could change that in my life. And because of that, I did everything that I did a lot of things, not everything, because I did some wrong things, but I did many things in my lifetime that would allow me to excel. Yeah. I believed in me. I had faith in me. And I believe that faith moves mountains. There was nobody at all who could say, all right, to me, you know, Melbourne Avenue you come from, so you go have 10 picnic. And because you have 10 children, and don't get me wrong now, I have absolutely nothing against women with children. I believe that I should have had more children myself. But sometimes when you have children too early, then that can hold you back in life.
I don't think you'd have held you back. I think because you had that drive. I think if you had 20, I think you'd have still been.
Maybe I would have been just the same. Maybe I would have been just the same if I had 20. But I'm just telling you that, oh, what I believed in at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose now we want to move into the community involvement and because you I mean I know about the MoBay City Run and everything,
Yes.
but you're involved in a lot of fundraising stuff
Yes.
and
So,
so how did that start? I mean, you, you did start from your school because you were doing the Christmas thing where you were giving.
yes, I started from very early, from maybe age 20. I started giving back to the community in a sense that for me, the children there were the most important human beings. So I would do the Christmas treat, as I said before. But after I left the community, I started helping by doing treats downtown Montego Bay. So every Christmas, I would help with, I would partner with a lot of other organizations and we would go around town and we would feed people. So that's where it all started. When I started university as an adult and I realized that there were so many students who could not afford to pay their university fees, their entry fee, and as a result, they couldn't access their course outlines, I decided to auction my clothes on Facebook and I would give that money to students to pay the fee so they could access their course outlines. If you can't access your course outline in university, by the way, you don't know no Oregon. So when I realized that students were even being turned out of examination rooms, in fact, I went into an examination room one day and it was disrupted by students who were not being allowed to sit the exam. So it had to be canceled. Then I became even more concerned about those types of students. So I started a bazaar. And the first year, we raised $600,000 by just selling clothing that had been worn already. We made $300,000 and another 300,000 was matched by Michelle English of Flow. She was the president of Flow at the time. And we decided to give that money to students at the University of the West Indies, Mona Western Jamaica campus. One of the main reasons why I also started helping that school, we wanted students studying in Western Jamaica to remain in Western Jamaica because we're having a brain drain. Students would go elsewhere, study, and not return. So there it was three, fourfold why we started the MoBay City Run, which is now the Jill Stewart MoBay City Run. I founded that run in 2013 after the bazaar. We decided $600,000 was a drop in the bucket. There were too many students that needed help. And a lot of other schools were coming to me as well. Mobecom College came to us, UTEC came to us. So we said, okay, we're going to have a run, we will give the funding to 4 tertiary institutions. We're going to help university students that are struggling to remain in school, and their GPA wouldn't be a big deal. It would be their needs. So we're in our 9th staging, and so far, after 8 stagings, we have donated $33.5 million towards education in Western Jamaica. Thank you.
When I returned in 2013, and I remember that I didn't realize it was the first one.
Yes.
I didn't realize that was the first one. Okay, you do this stuff now.
I also have a charity that I started in honor of my mom called Sarah's Children.
Okay, tell me about that.
The Sarah's Children was started. My mom's name was Sarah Finley. And because she used to take care of other people's children, I started something in her honor even before she died. We take care of children who are being abused and the elderly. We found that many older people have nobody to take care of them. They're abandoned by their families. And so we started that as well. So there are 2 charities that I'm deeply involved in. And I just started another group called Women of Western Jamaica. And that's mainly for business women, mainly, or executives of various organizations. Ideally, what we do is we support each other. If I know of a business idea or opportunity, I will tell one of my sisters who is part, we're sisters in business. We call ourselves WOWJA, Women of Western Jamaica. Yeah. That's my latest project.
That's a recent.
Yes, just founded it. We're launching this month.
The Sarah's thing, are you based somewhere?
Yes, we are here in Montego Bay. Yeah. We have helped many, many, many people. We started that in 2018. Yes, 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 yes.
How did Makiba come about?
My what? Makiba? Okay. So growing up, I had a deficiency of, I think, calcium deficiency. So my hair wouldn't grow. And in fact, I would pull the hair and eat it. So that is why I know that it must have been a deficiency. So they would call me Maka, um, all sorts of names I would be called because of my dry hair. Because you call it dry-head girl. You know, Jamaicans can be very unkind. So they were very, very unkind to me. But because of my confidence and because I knew that a bald-headed black girl was beautiful, I started calling myself Makiba instead of Maka. And for short, Kiba. And Makiba is Miriam Makiba. So I associated myself with someone positive and I accepted Maka, Makiba, Kiba, any one of them. I considered myself a short hair, beautiful Jamaican girl, and no one could tell me otherwise.
How did that make the people who were calling you names?
When you're called names, if you ignore those names, people automatically just forget say them to call you that. Take it from me. If you get caught up in it and start to let them know that they are affecting you psychologically, dog eat your supper. And I wasn't going to allow no dog to eat my supper. So I accepted my name that they gave me, and I knew that it was a form of not intimidation, but I'm trying to find the word here. It's not. It has nothing to do with racism. It has to do with inferiority. So for me, I never suffered from inferiority complex ever. I've always told myself that I was beautiful. And my beauty is within. So within that beauty, whatever you see here in front of you is that beauty that emanates. So for me, facial beauty is unimportant. It's what comes from within.
What advice would you give to young girls growing up now that are going through the same sort of?
Oh my God. Let me tell you something. First thing, they can't let anyone tell them who they are. They have to decide who they are, who they want to be in life. And they have to, with determination, continue to progress in that way. In other words, nobody can really tell you who you are, you know. So people might come around you and try to dictate your identity and who you should be. But if you have confidence within yourself and you know that you can be somebody in life, then that's what you should push for. So there are a lot of young people now who don't have role models, and so it's difficult for them. Associate yourselves with organizations. Find out who are the leaders in this country that are willing to help you. And if they are not willing to help you, start reading, researching, because many people that come from abused homes, poor communities, areas where, okay, they're constantly told that they are not going to be anybody. Many of those people have excelled and have defied what they have been told. And you can do it too. But because you don't have examples, you feel that you can't. But start reading, start researching, and you will find people who have excelled under circumstances that would have otherwise caused them not to. There is hope, and there's hope in Jamaica. Take it from me. There are people in this country who care about other people. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
When I look now, when you scratch below the surface, you start to see, you don't see it up front.
No.
When you scratch below it, so you realize there's a lot.
Yeah, there are a lot of people who will help you.
You mentioned wow, but
Wow, JA.
yeah, do you have any other upcoming projects that you'd like
To speak about? Well, the Jill Stewart MoBay City Run is on May 4, Sunday, May 4. We want the entire Western Jamaica, Lord Jesus, don't say that, the entire Jamaica to turn out for that run because it is the largest run in Western Jamaica. It is the run that you can depend on. We know where our money goes. We have proof of our success. We know how many young people have been helped and the great difference it has made in their lives. We have testimonials to prove that. So we want people to come out and support us. Come out on Sunday, May 4 and support us. And before that, we're doing a wellness week because we have found out that many people in Western Jamaica are suffering from heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes. And so we're having a wellness week starting on Sunday, April 27th. We're inviting people out to Harmony Beach Park, where the run is going to be, to come and exercise with us. That morning, we have 5 gym instructors from gyms across Montego Bay, Pilates and yoga for those people who want something a little more quiet. And on the Tuesday now, in collaboration with the Western Regional Health Authority and the National Health Fund, we are doing screening, etc. And so we're having a fair, an expo of sorts on the beach. So we're inviting people to come to our health and wellness fair on the 29th, which is the Tuesday. On the 30th, which is the next day, we're having MoBay Moves, similar to Jamaica Moves. Yeah.
hopes for Montego Bay? I mean, I see right now there's Pinnacle and there's the bypass going on and this type of thing. But, so there's a lot of development. But what are your hopes for the future of Montego Bay and hardship?
Well, I would like to see a number of more investors coming into Montego Bay where the people can earn more, much more than they're earning right now. I want to see more of our young people being catapulted into positions of supervisory management, managers of various organizations. And I want to see more of our young people returning to Montego Bay after they have gone elsewhere to study, to come back and give back to their city. But overall, I am excited about the future of the city because it is the gateway for me that is pushing what is happening in the rest of the economy where Jamaica is concerned. So we are the tourism capital, one. Two, we have one of the two main international airports here where over 3 million people, 3 to 4 million people come in annually to Jamaica. And when they do come and stay in the various properties, whether it be Airbnb or the hotels, a lot of times that goes back into the communities. The pinnacles that you see happening, for me, is fantastic because Montego Bay on a whole, overall, they're looking at changing how the destination looks. And for Pinnacle, Pinnacle is looking at the luxury market. So that is in sync with what currently happens at, say, Half Moon, Round Hill, Trial, Pinnacle is offering. Once Jamaica on a whole is recognized as a luxury destination, not just an all-inclusive destination, what it allows is for us to get people with better, or should I say, higher spending power. And that is what we want right now. We want tourists that are going to be coming into Jamaica and their spend is going to be higher than what we're now experiencing.
Fred, I was only going to ask one more question. But just on the whole tourism, probably I'm looking at it from a not as educated position. But I remember back in the 70s and 80s, when cruise ship was in Montego Bay, the whole town was overrun with tourists. Now I've seen two cruise ships in port or harvested tourists on the street. So I don't know how that development is or is there any move afoot to sort of change that sort of footprint where the man in the craft market and this is not making the
okay, so I can't speak on behalf of government because I'm not. However, I would like to see that happen, wherein we have more people coming off the ships and walking in our city. But right now, I would think that the police are doing such a good job in downtown Montego Bay that we will see more of that. Tourists are not going to go into towns where they feel unsafe. They're going to go on tours. And so they take tours to the various attractions. So they get off the ship, they get on a bus. But I would like to see them get off the ship and go into the town, get off the ship and go into the craft market. It's all about marketing as well. We must have a team that is part of linkages. We talk about linkages all the time. So we must have a team, that same linkages team must push business into the craft markets because they are part of linkages. If you're talking about linkages and then the craft market's not feeling the linkages that you're speaking about, then it doesn't make any sense. Because those craft merchants are the backbone of this country. They are.
For those who don't understand, explain linkages.
Okay, so the linkages that we speak about would be tourism sector is here, The craft merchants are in the middle. The Jamaica Tourist Board is here. And what that linkages group does is to bring the tourists together with the craft merchants. Another thing that linkages brings, if you are a supplier of goods and services to the industry, what they do, they bring you to the client. So it could be a hotel, it could be a tour operator company. What they do, they put you with them, and so business can be generated between the two. So that's the linkage. It's linkages between the agricultural sector and the tourism sector. It's linkages between the craft merchants and the tourists, or even a hotel where they can go in and sell their products on certain days of the week, because that too happens. It happens that some hotels allow some of the craft merchants to come in on, say, on a Tuesday evening when they have a Jamaica night, and those craft merchants are able to sell their goods and services. So that linkages needs to work.
What would you like your legacy to be?
Mm. I'm a mother and I'm a grandmother, and I've always said, if you have lived and you have not made an impact or change, transformation in other people's lives, then you have not lived. I want my legacy to be the impact that I have made on other people's lives. And I believe that just through one project alone, over 4,000 tertiary students have benefited. Not to mention other things that I've done in my lifetime. The work that I've done as a journalist to bring out information, including Dad Raped Us, that man went to prison. The stories that I've done to help people who are suffering to get help from the community. I've really, really worked hard in my lifetime to help others. And it has shown in my work. That is the legacy that I would have left when I leave this earth.
Wow, no, that's amazing. Janet's story is a reminder that where you start doesn't define where you end up. From struggling nights in Montego Bay to international recognition, from personal pain to public impact, she's proof that purpose and persistence can take you far. And maybe the most powerful part of her story is her commitment to lifting others as she climbs. So if you're listening today, whether you're from a small district facing doubt or just trying to find your way, know this: your story matters too. Actually, please do me a favor. Drop me a line in the comments and tell me a story about yourself, regardless of how small. Thanks for staying with us till the end. As you're still here, I hope you enjoyed the story and would like to enjoy more. Hit the like and subscribe button, as it does help the channel. This is Talk to Miguel. See you in next time.